Hey, it's good to have you guys here today in my Oil Life's kitchen. It's fun to be back. I haven't done this for a while, so here we go. We'll jump in with some kind of fun Valentine's ideas for you. Today, first of all, we're going to do a chocolate orange shortbread cookie. And we're going to get it started first because it needs to go in the fridge to cool. So one of the things that's really great about shortbread is it only takes like 5 ingredients. And so most of the time we have those 5 ingredients in our kitchen. So this takes butter, powdered sugar, orange zest, an essential oil. I love doTERRA, and so wild orange essential oil, flour, and then some melting chocolate. And you can pick up these recipes online. They'll post those for you so that you can see exact ingredients. So, okay, so the first thing we're going to start out with here is softened butter. And so when I am using essential oils and zests, I like to add the oil into the butter because then it gets very emulsified into the product. So I put about 4 drops of oil in the butter. You can use as much or as little as you would like. And then obviously it's so much fun to put in some orange zest because smells so good, and it just boosts the flavor in the cookie. So we've got that in there. The next ingredient that I'm dropping in, so that's 1 cup of butter, and then about a tablespoon of orange zest and about 4 drops of doTERRA wild orange. This is powdered sugar. For my shortbreads, I like powdered sugar because I know a lot of people make them with cane sugar, but I prefer powdered sugar. I think it gives it a more sandy texture, which is what shortbread's all about. That's what you want, is a sandy texture. So that's our flour, and that was our powdered sugar, sorry about that. And that was a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. So we're gonna go ahead and just cream these together. And I would have brought my great big KitchenAid, but you know what? It's too heavy to haul down here. So we're gonna do it this way and probably get powdered sugar everywhere. Yep. So we just wanna cream this together and get it all blended well. Too bad you're not here in the kitchen because you can smell the wild orange already. It's wonderful. Okay, so we've got that in. So now, this is the beauty of this. It's so stinking easy because now all that we have left to do is throw in the flour. So with my big KitchenAid mixer, I throw in all of the flour at once. But I'm thinking with this smaller one, I'm going to do it in a couple of additions. Mostly so it doesn't throw it all over. The texture that we're after here is like sand. So this first batch will probably not be too sandy because of the flour ratio to the butter. But now this one, we should start to see it looking more like sand. Can you see that? Oh, come on, mixer here. It's actually pulling together a little bit more, and I actually don't want it to pull together as much, so I'm gonna stop it now. So this is actually a lot creamier than it usually is. With my big stand mixer, it tends to be a lot more, like I said, in that sandy category. So we'll get all this lusciousness off of the beaters here. So this recipe is one that I use a lot at Christmas time. But when they ask me to do these recipes, in fact, 2 of the recipes are ones that I use at Christmas time, I automatically thought of them for Valentine's Day because chocolate is so prevalent for Valentine's Day. We just love that flavor of chocolate, and I don't know, it just speaks Valentine's Day, I guess you could say. So that made me think of these recipes to be multitasked and to use them for that. So now you can see it's a little bit more sandy as I'm pulling that flour that was on the bottom of the bowl. All right, so this is actually going to be really easy to roll because, like I say, generally it is a little more sandy. So I'm going to just tip that out there, and then what we're going to do is take some saran, because you could do these in multiple ways. The way I've chosen to do them today is we're going to do them kind of like rectangle sticks. And so that way you could have them and dip them into hot chocolate or tea or coffee or whatever your fancy is. So the way we're going to do it today to get it into a stick is to put it out on this saran. Get all that lusciousness out. Now you can see some of the little bit more sandy textures of it. And I'm just going to pat it out a little bit here so that I get it started. Should have wiped my hands off. Oops. Let me do that. And let's see if we can find the end of the saran again. Sorry about that. There we go. Lesson 2 in oil life. Don't lose the other piece of this box because it's so much easier. Lots of people use this kitchen. If any of you guys have been here before to the Oil Life store and you've taken classes or come up here on the second floor, you know that's where the kitchen is. And like I say, lots of people use this kitchen, so you never know what you're going to get when you walk in the door. So we're going to try and get this in a rectangle. And you have to distribute some of the dough. Push it over here a little. Try and fold that back a little bit. We may have kind of a fun rectangle here, not do a exact one. Let's do this, and then that way I can get it a little bit more. I actually have you could use a sill pat at home if you had one. You know, lots of people use those and actually bake on them. I'm going to show you the cookie sheets that I use here in a few minutes that I don't use sill pat on them. Okay, that was easier to get into a rectangle. Okay, do you see how that area right there is real doughy? That's because that flour didn't get quite incorporated into there. So I just took one of the places that was sandy and just patted it into that to make it a little bit more the texture that I want. So this is not an exact science by any means. Okay, so what I am trying to do right now is to get it more in that rectangle shape. And then also, I'm trying to get it so it's about the same thickness, because that way it'll bake up and be nice as it bakes the same. A lot of you may have done shortbread that you've actually left it in a square, poked holes in it, and then baked it. And you could sure do that with this too. Just do it however you want to. Another thing you could do with it, since it is Valentine's Day, is you could, after this is cooled, you could cut it out with heart cookie cutters, and that would be fun. And you're going to see in a few minutes, because after this is cooled up nicely, we're actually going to dip it in chocolate. So I'm just going to take one of my cookie sheets so that I can get this to the refrigerator. But these are my favorite cookie sheets. These are USA pans. You can find them a lot of places locally, but you can also order them online. The thing that I love about them, you can probably see this in the camera, is see how it's got the ridges in it? And so it's awesome as you're baking because that airflow goes underneath your product. And that way it makes it so you don't really need the parchment paper. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the fridge, and then we're going to move on to another Valentine's treat, and we will come back to this one after it's cooled. We're back in the My Oil Life kitchen, and we're going to finish off our orange shortbread. So as you can see, this is our rectangle that we put in the fridge. It's only been in there for an hour or less even, and it's a nice solid sheet. So like I said, if you wanted to use heart cookie cutters, you sure could. We're going to do rectangles so that it's almost like a biscotti kind of. So I learned this great thing about cutting years ago, that our eye is trained to kind of see the center of things. And so I go down and divide it in the center first, and then I'm going to divide that in half. Okay, we'll come over here and do this side also. Yeah, that one's not quite as happy. Then, since I want these to be kind of like biscotti, I'm going to go one more time. Oop. So, and I'm just using a butter knife because on the saran, we don't want the saran to get cut. That would be kind of a mess. So there we go. So now I'm just gonna flip it and I'm gonna do the same thing again. I'm gonna go down the center. And so this is where you can kind of play with it. Do you want them to be small squares? Do you want them to be rectangles? I think they'd be fun kind of longer. So I'm gonna go about here. And then it's up to you. If you don't want them to look rustic, you could cut that off. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna let them look rustic. And about right here. Okay. And then all we're gonna do is transfer these again to our baking sheet so that they're ready to go. So you guys don't need to stick around for that, but just know that that's what I'm doing. And then I'm gonna put them in an oven at 325. And then we'll show you what we do with them to finish them off to make them really fancy in just a few minutes. Thanks. Hey, we're back to finish the orange log, or as we did, more like an orange bar. So I've taken some block chocolate. I prefer block chocolate. I know a lot of people like the little round meltaways, but the round meltaways have something in them that makes them round. This is just pure real chocolate, and so I prefer to use this. I have had people in the past ask, where do you get it? A great source that you can get block chocolate from online is King Arthur Flour. They carry it, but then there's only certain times of the year that they ship it, and that may be why some of you use the rounds. Those rounds can be shipped a lot easier than this whole block of chocolate. But anyway, a lot of grocery stores are carrying it too. So what I did is I took this and just took my knife and cut along. I'm going to move this because I can see myself breaking that. Just cut along it till I got it into slivers. Okay, then I put it in this glass bowl in the microwave and did it for just 30 seconds at 50% power. If you do chocolate too hot, it will turn white when it's dried. And so you want to be careful with that. So when this came out, because I'm not as familiar with this microwave here as I should be, it was awfully hot. And so I did what's called tempering it. And so I took some of these cold pieces and threw into it, and that made it so that it would cool it down real quickly. So all we're gonna do to finish these cute shortbreads off is to just dip them in this chocolate. I'm gonna go like that so the bottom isn't so full. And just put a fun little chocolate dribble on them. Isn't that great? It just looks so festive and pretty. One of the things that you could do with these if you wanted to too, is you could totally add in like miniature chocolate chips would be really fun. Just any little candy that wouldn't be gooey and melt. But there's just all kinds of things. Craisins would be really good in them. Chop those up, put them in. So that's the way we're finishing that one off. So again, a fun little cookie that you can make in no time at all, because it just takes those few simple ingredients that you have at home. So enjoy these, enjoy them with some hot chocolate, a cup of coffee, or whatever you would like. Have a great day. Thanks. Hey, it's Melanie again from Oil Life. I just wanted to recap what we've done today. It's been so fun to share some Valentine's ideas with you. First of all, we did the Almond Joy Bites, which are so fun. Don't forget you can experiment and put all different kind of essential oils in those for the taste that you want. And then we did the dark cherry lime shortbread cookies, which are so fun. And again, you could drizzle those with chocolate if you wanted to. But the thing I love about those is it's like you eat one and you're like, oh man, I gotta have another one, because they are a great combination of tart and sweet with that cherry and the lime. It's just a great flavor complex that just, ooh, makes your heart sing. Okay, the last thing we did was the orange shortbread. Love the orange also, again, because it's just such a good flavor. And so this is almost like those chocolate orange sticks that you get at Christmas, or the chocolate oranges that you break. That's what this flavor complex is all about. And then also don't forget that you could put mini chocolate chips in these, but don't they turn out fun? That's a great treat too. What spouse wouldn't get a kick out of these if he came home, or she came home and you had these great treats for them for Valentine's Day? So again, it was fun to be with you from Oil Life, and we will see you again another time. Thanks.